Road in Langston, Georgia. You understand?
Atlanta police arrested one man and 6 women Tuesday afternoon as officers tried to remove them from the private property that sits along Confederate Road in DeKalb. According to APD, activists hiding in tree houses they've erected on the private property tossed 2 Molotov cocktails towards police. You can see how one caught on fire when it hit the ground just a few yards from police. APD says the officers were there to escort contractors onto the development when the activists resisted. Fortunately, no one was injured, but police say the threat was real. But activists insist the real threat is deforesting this 85-acre site and building a facility they say will promote over-policing in black and brown communities. 6 out of the 7 suspects are from out of state and told the judge they're unemployed. So it's not clear where they will go after other activists post their bond. But the judge says they cannot return to the tree houses and other structures they've reportedly built in the woods of a place they call Cop City.
Also, you have a do not return to 561 Road in Atlanta, Georgia as a special condition of your bond. Okay?
Police say only one of the 7 protesters arrested Tuesday is from Georgia. The rest, according to APD, come from Ohio, Minnesota, Massachusetts, New York, Pennsylvania, and Maryland. And police say that's proof they're not people with real ties to the issues impacting folks here in Atlanta. Now, to that, the demonstrators say it shouldn't matter where they're from as long as they're engaged in civil disobedience. At the live desk,
and that impact caused her baby to be ejected from her stroller. The focus of the new legislation, the crosswalks that travelers use to go from the terminal to the parking garages. Fox 5's Morse Diggs has the details.
Depending on the time of day and the volume of passengers, an enforcement officer may or may not be here in the crosswalk. What you're going to see occurred after a late night flight with the mom and the family getting in at 3 a.m. A mom cradles a baby right after the family was struck by a motorist. The younger of 2 children ejected from the stroller on impact.
So you got 2 children
and the mother.
And the mother.
Yeah.
That was the only ones that
That's it.
She's got some abrasions.
Yes, on her left side, yeah.
Okay.
The incident definitely rare, but it highlights what airport staffers tell me is a dangerous situation at the airport crosswalks. Police charged this rideshare driver in the incident. He told police he was not paying attention when he came around the curb up the north traffic corridor. Another mom, a traveler, expressed her concerns.
Chevy Tahoe parked outside the government building. Canton police believe this man, 29-year-old Timothy Gregory, drove by here at around 6 in the morning and opened fire towards the building, the bullets hitting the vehicle. But there were also people around at the time.
And anytime there's shots fired in a neighborhood area, there's a big concern. In fact, there were individuals that were outside of the business at the time, so charges were taken on that as well.
Officer Pacer Cordry with Canton Police tells Fox 5 their detectives worked tirelessly to find the individual responsible and then put 2 and 2 together after learning Cherokee County deputies had already arrested Gregory on a similar incident in their jurisdiction.
Video footage and then interviewing and going through the records of people that possibly been in the office lately, they narrowed it down, and then with the detectives communicating with the Cherokee Sheriff's Office, who also have this individual under arrest at the time that we secured our warrants, we determined it was the same individual.
Investigators believe Gregory had a connection to this office.
He is serving either parole or probation there through them, and he obviously probably upset about something. That's kind of speculating, but I believe something must have set him off to cause him to do that.
The motive is still unclear in the Cherokee County incident, where deputies say Gregory shot into a home in the Carmichael Farm subdivision in broad daylight. At the time, a pregnant woman was inside. One bullet went in through a window and into her walk-in closet. Investigators say Gregory went to high school with the homeowners but had not.
Well, angry lawmakers want to get to the bottom of the baby formula shortage. The FDA commissioner got grilled during a House subcommittee hearing today. Lawmakers asked why it took months to investigate a formula plant in Michigan that had contamination issues. Abbott Laboratories closed that plant in February. It's one of the main factors driving this current crisis. The FDA says the facility could reopen as soon as next week, and the commissioner also pushed back, arguing the formula supply chain has been under strain for a long time.
In Unless we make the right investments in our infrastructure, including technology, data, people, and a modernized supply chain system, we will continue to see shortages and problems across the industries we regulate.
Meanwhile, the White House is scrambling for solutions. President Biden invoked the Defense Production Act, requiring suppliers of key formula ingredients to prioritize delivery to formula manufacturers. The White House also authorized the use of commercial planes to bring formula in from overseas as parents seek relief.
The Better Business Bureau has the BBB urges checking accreditation status, looking up unfamiliar stores, and adding the word scam to verify. You should also use credit cards with fraud protection to purchase.
Coming up after a 5-stop tour with Arizona Governor Doug Ducey. On Tuesday, he stomped in North Georgia with former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, a former ally of Donald Trump. Meantime, Trump's choice for governor, David Perdue, had his lawsuit over absentee ballots in the 2020 election rejected this week in court. The judge himself in his ruling said that this was sour grapes. Is it possible that after all of this, that's what this is finally about?
If I thought that, I wouldn't be running. Anybody that knows me, I got over that last year. What I'm upset about right now is that our party is divided. Brian Kemp did it, and because of that, he can't beat Stacey Abrams in the fall.
You heard both Republicans mention Stacey Abrams, who's running unopposed in the Democratic primary for governor. She's running a new ad touting her business background and job creation. I asked her about Kemp's success in attracting the Rivian electric vehicle plant to East Georgia and now Hyundai to the Savannah area. More than 15,000 jobs between them. Why should voters reject that business record that Governor Kemp has?
We need a business record that works for all of Georgia, because we know that a few plants in a few places helps those communities. But if we expand Medicaid, we create 64,000 jobs in every single region of the state. I am very grateful to President Joe Biden and the work he's doing to bring that plant to Georgia. We know that it's because he's been working with Senator Raphael Warnock and Senator John Ossoff.
President Biden.
That is the key issue in the Secretary of State's race, is going back to 2020. So we'll see how much that plays in, and I think that could be the one race where you watch and see, do Republicans really want to go back and hash out 2020? Because I think Herschel Walker in the Senate race, it's a little different story there. It's his name ID. It's his popularity among Georgians.
Yeah. Iconic status. I mean, it's just yes. he's an icon. Like, yes. Nobody else really compares. And I appreciate what Lori said. I'm not meaning to say that Raffensperger's in the same spot as Kemp. He's not. Kemp's got a huge lead. Raffensperger's competitive, and that's a major change from last year. That's what I'm saying. He's competitive.
Yeah, and the biggest difference between Butch Miller and Burt Jones would seem to be the Trump endorsement, don't you think?
Yes, well, that and, Burt Jones has a lot more money, from family money that he's able to put in. So, that's been an advantage. Butch Miller, who is my client, must disclose, is a really hard worker, and that guy has just covered a lot of territory, and he's putting a message on TV that is really cutting across with Republican voters.
And I think with turnout, Russ, too, we've heard so much about some of these Democrats who are now voting in a Republican primary. There's so far, I think there's a count of like 20,000 among the analysts. I think a lot of them are a little bit worried about some of the fringy and the hard right candidates, so they're probably crossing over to vote for the Brad Raffenspergers and the Brian Kemps.
That makes sense, doesn't it? Lori, Brian, thank you very much. Stay here. My interview with Herschel Walker, one-on-one at his home in Buckhead. Right after this.
Prices are where they are right now. People can't afford to buy milk. They can't afford to buy eggs. And you see the crime rate. What has happened to the crime? And, was that not the party that created defund the police? Well, that didn't work. And we found that out. Those things that are foundation things that we should hold true to the country we are today.
I do want to ask you, you've been very open about your struggles with mental illness over your life. You wrote a book about it in 2008. Are you receiving any treatment now for this dissociative identity disorder, or is that all?
No, that's all done, and you don't need to, and that's why I tell people. I think one thing I told people is I've been open about it, and I was open about it, 14 years ago, but I try to move that stigma. I think right now people want to continue to bring it up, and I said that's one thing I can do, is I'm going to be an advocate. When I get to Washington on mental health, we're having a problem in this country. When I go around the state talking to people, even in our law enforcement, our hospitals, they said one of the main problems they're having is mental health. They're not equipped for it. Well, that's what I've been doing for the last, 16, 17 years. I've been preparing myself, and I'm ready. And I said, guys, they're going to bring a lot of things. But I said, I'm ready to do it because most every family in America may have had a family member or know someone that have suffered from some type of mental illness that they weren't aware of it. They didn't understand. And that's what I want to do is help people, because we're going to help a lot of people out there that are suffering right now.
Okay. Well, Agriculture Commissioner Gary Black is bringing it up, one of your Republican opponents in the primary. He says that if you win the nomination, you can't win in the fall because they're going to come after you with the allegations of domestic violence and all that sort of thing that, in his estimation, is disqualifying. How do you respond?
You know what you respond to. When you're losing, you got to come up with something. And right now, I think Gary, you see what's happening. He's not doing too well. And so you want to come up with something. Right now, the best one for that Senate seat is Herschel Walker, and everybody knows that. The polls are showing it. My fundraising is showing it. Everybody is out there, and I think come May the 24th, people are going to let him know that.
He certainly does want to win. That's partly why he's bringing this up. But back in 2008, your ex-wife Cindy told ABC that you pointed a gun at her head and threatened to kill her. That's serious business. What should voters make of that?
Well, what they should make of that is you got to ask Cindy today. She and I are the best of friends. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the person I am today. Right now, I think people can bring up all the past, but the past is the past.
You're a world-class competitor. Has it been difficult not to compete with these guys in the debate and let them have the stage?
Not at all, because the thing is one of the things I said when I decided to run is I want to get into all 159 counties, let the people meet Herschel Walker, because just like you said, everyone knows me as this football player. People don't know that I built a successful business. People do not know that I sit on a publicly traded board. People don't know that I worked with the military for almost 15 to 18 years. I've been working with the military. People don't know that. I want people to know that. And my thing is they need to get out and do what I'm doing. Meet the people.
Let's talk about inflation. I think that's probably the number one concern of voters right now. What's the proper government response to high energy and food prices?
Well, the proper response, they're blaming other people. They're blaming Putin. And this inflation we're going for, this war in Ukraine even started. So it's not Putin's fault. And then they blame the oil company like they're the one doing it wrong. No. We got to put the blame right back on this administration. The blame happened when he first got into office. He took away our energy independence again. He took that away. But let's go to energy independence. One of the things that they keep talking about is drilling. Well, people need to realize that we're one of the most environmental friendly drilling of anyone in the whole world.
Your 5 opponents in the Republican primary all say that they favor a ban on abortion in Georgia without exceptions. What do you say?
The same. I'm for life, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm a Christian. I believe in life. I believe from the womb to the tomb. We need to put money to adoption programs. We need to put money to single fathers and single mothers, and not just let people go out and have abortion. My opponent, look what he's a pastor. No one is questioning him about his belief on abortion.
Well, he's been very clear. He calls himself a pro-choice pastor.
Well, what is that, though? What is a pro-choice pastor when in the Bible, is one of the 10 commandments is thou shalt not kill?
One of the things that has certainly motivated President Trump in giving endorsements to various candidates has been whether or not they accept his claim that the election was stolen. Do you think the election was stolen?
Well, I think reporters say that. I don't know whether President Trump said, because he never said that to me. I'm not arguing with
him. He says it over and over.
No. I've never heard President Trump ever say that. But I'm not saying the president, but everyone knows something happened in the election, because Stacey Abrams hasn't conceded to it. Brian Kemp has it. And one of the things people don't know about President Trump, and we've been friends forever, that he better has been one of my people that endorse me, because I've known him forever. But he also know Herschel Walker don't dance and sing for nobody.